very good morning to you, Grenada, and the rest of the world. From he, George Grant, saying welcome to today's edition of Good Day Grenada, the final day, yeah man, final day of July. Into the carnival month, starting tomorrow. Yeah, well, carnival seems like it's already in full swing. But I'm very happy that you folks are with us this morning. Please, try and make it a point to spend the next hour with us. Let me go directly to the rundown. We're going to be starting by asking a question. Special treatment for the Prime Minister's security detail when it comes to vacation pay? Huh? Wait, what a way to begin this morning. What a way to begin. You're going to be hearing an excerpt from yesterday's post-cabinet briefing. That's not all we're pulling out of that press briefing. The Prime Minister also said yesterday that there are other culprits. Note the word culprits in cellphone gate, not just Sheldon Scott. Okay. Then we do have the national report, and it would be interesting to see if there is anything about either of these two pieces in the national report, which will come to you right after we get through with our introductory segment, the first 10, 12 minutes or so. So, punch it up. Let us begin this morning with a quote from activist Vincent Roberts on social media regarding comments made by Prime Minister Keith Mitchell at yesterday's post-cabinet briefing. I'm quoting here verbatim. What does the Labor Code say about workers and their vacation? In addition to the need for vacation to maintain one's health, the failure of someone to take or receive vacation that's due to them is a red flag for possible corrupt practices being covered up. The PM said that the head of the FIU has been paid in lieu of vacation. Being a politically exposed person already, operating in breach of the FIU Act, this is a major red flag. Grenada has serious problems. Now, remember, that was a quote on Facebook yesterday from Vincent Roberts. All right? Now, take a look at what he was referring to.
There is an issue in the air. It has to do with what has been said that you have requested security personnel, a special payment arrangement for security personnel who were supposed to have been on vacation and that they were called back or offered some sort of payment. Can you clarify for us what is the arrangement for that?
I'm very glad that this was raised. It's only in Grenada the issue of security becomes an issue all over the ground. Security is a very special thing. And therefore, one should be very careful of any interpretation that special treatment is given to anybody. The security of the Prime Minister, as you know, is a very serious issue. there's a rule in place about public servants and the limits of holiday that they can accrue. I would tell you this, many of you may not have heard this. There's an ongoing case today where a senior member of the police force went to some persons in my security detail and tell them, what you're doing around the Prime Minister, get away from him. You know what that means? The suggestion is, you could interpret it as what you want. Let somebody kill him. In other words, you can put any and anybody around. I am not going to accept. Trump will not accept. No prime minister in the region will ever accept any and anybody in the police force around them for the private deal for many different reasons. You can project what they are. So since there is a law in place for limit, not they were brought back in. No, that's not true. It's not true. Leave were accumulated. And all these guys said to, the law says you must take it. I said, no. So when you take it, who's going to protect the Prime Minister? Just pick up anybody anywhere and put them around the Prime Minister? Unless I don't like my life.
But can you specifically speak to, because I understand, or what I'm hearing is that there was some payment arrangement for vacation put in place.
No, I'm coming. You asked my question, I'm coming. All I did was give a preamble,
Okay,
because that's important. Because otherwise, all you're hearing is about payment. You're not hearing the rationale. Now, so I'm saying there's a law. The persons who are going on have to go on leave. The exposure to the Prime Minister. I decided I cannot do without these individuals. So the choice was either we pay them and keep them to protect the Prime Minister, or let them go and bring new people around me for 6 months, 9 months, in some cases a year and a half. Well, no way. In other words, this is a decision that I made. No one else must get licks for this. If there's any licks, it must be on the back of the Prime Minister, not the police commissioner. And I don't see, to me, there's no news in this. I heard people was on radio talking about this. I say repeat it several times because it's the right thing to do. It's morally correct and the right thing. Are we going to ask these poor guys, who else, everybody else get their holiday, not to get holidays and to lose it? But let me say this. So each person, I had several members of the police force, when they heard about the decision, came to me, friends of mine, and they wanted, I said, wait, the decision was not to pay people for leaving. The decision was to pay people for those we refused to allow to go and leave. If you work in the traffic division, they manage themselves. You go on your leave and others come. If you're working with another area of administration in the government, say, the police force, whether it's deputy commissioner or assistant commissioner, somebody else chip in while you're out. There's no major security issue there. I'm talking about the office of the Prime Minister. So, decision was made by me. And people agreed to pay people instead of allowing them to go. In other words, I could not agree. Some of my best friends in the police force wanted. I said, no, the decision was this. I said, if I ever give you, the whole equation falls down and it becomes a preferential thing. It was not a preferential thing. So it must not be felt that the only friends of mine are the ones in the police force are the ones around me. That's the implication. I have very close friends in several areas of the police service, very good friends. In some cases, family members. But they cannot qualify because they don't fall into that special category of protection. The only other police officer outside of those directly connected to the Prime Minister that received that payment was Tafawa Pierre. And that, you know, for me, I would know that the perception would be that if he's given, then it will look as if it's a preferential thing. So we examine it. The power payer heads the FIU. As you know, right now, he would about to go on over 200 odd days leave. Right now, we have the FATF. If we don't get it right, the country will be blacklisted. There are many serious private, that's what I said, security is not something for the average fellow on the ground. Several key decisions that he's involved with, that if he goes, will be affected negatively. The decision was, do we risk the name of the country? Do we risk the security problems? Or we allow him, or we pay him? Because again, if he doesn't take it, he loses it. Is it fair because his wife is a minister for him to lose it while others get the opportunity to go and leave? We made a decision. They didn't ask for it. Others who came, I said, my friend, it's not of a critical nature. Therefore, it's not a relative of mine. I know him only through my relationship in the police force. I have friends who are personally connected to me who are in the police force, and they could not get. So I hope it is clearly understood. Don't blame anybody. Blame the Prime Minister and the Minister of National Security, who has a fundamental responsibility for the security of the country. So I hope that will rest the case. So I'm very happy, Eugenia, that you raised this question. I expected it, and I'm proud to. Somebody called me and said there was somebody on a radio, somebody should be in Monge on a radio talking about it. I said, tell him repeat it several times. Every day he should be talking about it. Tell him I'm proud. There's no scoop in this, because let me make the point. If I was the one who was responsible why this telephone information came out, because I became concerned. People don't know this, Certain things I was hearing, and it got me worried. In a staff meeting at the Ministry of Finance, I asked directly to over 30 people sitting there that I want these telephones bills. And it was read out in a staff meeting. So who came in and they had some scoop or they get some information? It's the Prime Minister who's the one. And the gentleman said in the meeting, Prime Minister, we check and you're one of the smallest. I said, so that means I'm not responsible? I'm not proud of this. Whether my bill was the largest or the smallest or the medium size, the fact is I'm responsible as Prime Minister and Minister of Finance. Government monies are being wasted, so it didn't give me any glee at all. It's still fundamental weakness on my part and the government.
All right, there we go. So that's the first piece, just the first piece. Now, in order to not get too backlogged, I'm going to read the comments on that piece before I go to the next piece, okay? First of all, Kipling Francis says, I'm trying to see if we can get the PM a show in Comedy Central television series in the United States. He surely would make Grenada proud. So says Kipling. Benedict Cador says, is the Prime Minister concerned about his life? Is there a threat out there? That's what Benedict is asking. Ryan says, I thought Grenada was cash-strapped. Vacation pay for special detail? Yeah, that's what this whole issue is about, Ryan. And Marshall Dollar Lewis says, can you pay it out of your pocket? John says, and this is John Kennison, John says, Mugabe had his, quote, veteran personal guards, unquote. And this sounds similar. Then John Bruno says, then he should be hiring a private a private contractor, since he's going over the head of the commissioner. That's a big issue. You know, I wouldn't want to be in the commissioner's shoes right now. Peter Bishop says, Grenada is a banana republic. The PM is talking nonsense. Benedict Cador says, how large is the PM security detail that they cannot be rotated so that each could have vacation? The answer to that, I think, is 15. Benedict, 15. John Bruno, can you imagine someone doing security work without a break? He also goes on to say, I would like to know what he's afraid of. Adrian Phillip says, Mr. P, that's a damn lie. And Margaret is also just checking in. All right, folks, that's it for that piece. Also, at yesterday's post-cabinet briefing, Dr. Mitchell came out swinging. While responding to a question from a reporter about former Senator Sheldon Scott's promise to repay the ridiculous phone and data bill he racked up in April, May, and June of this year, and how it will be repaid, Mitchell couldn't understand why the focus on Mr. Scott, since he believes that there are many other culprits involved. Okay? Yeah, that's the word he used. In so doing, Dr. Mitchell was echoing the sentiments of the president of the Trades Union Council, Andre Lewis, during an appearance on this past Sunday's edition of Sundays with George Grant. Folks, check this out.
My first question has to do with what we call the cell phone scandal, phone gate, whatever name we attach to it. It has to do specifically with we've heard from Mr. Scott that he's willing to commit to his responsibilities for a repayment. I wanted to know specifically what arrangement has been put in place in terms of Mr. Scott's payment plan, if there is one. Is it that he will be doing a special arrangement with Digicel? Can you clarify? That's the first question.
Well, first of all, let me make this point. It's very unfortunate that we have a massive problem, and all we're talking is about one individual. It's extremely unfortunate. There are a lot of culprits in this game, and I don't know that it's fair to single out one culprit. And you know that I use the word culprit because all of us are culprits to some extent. So I think the reason that Sheldon has become the issue is because of what is perceived of his association. If Sheldon was associated with another political organization or have no association at all, and the bills were far more than it is, we would not have heard anything, which is unfortunate. Yeah. It's extremely unfortunate because wrong is wrong, no matter whether the person is the son or brother of the Prime Minister, or friend of the Prime Minister, or friend of anybody in opposition, or a business person. Wrong is wrong, and we must call it out, everybody. So I don't like the fact that it's only one person named that I'm hearing about. I would like the fact that there's several other names. We shouldn't call names, but if we're going to call out all of us. So, going specifically to Sheldon, as you know, I just came back. I was, of course, while I'm abroad, I'm in contact with people, and I gave my own suggestions as to how this should be handled for everybody, including Sheldon. If you weren't working with the government, you ought not to have been using phones and assuming that, well, heaven's paying for it. Somebody paying for it. So it means, therefore, we have to be able to recoup that. So the policy is being put in place, and arrangements are going to be put in place. As I've said, that Digicel has been in touch, so we'll work this together. And since all of us are at fault, all of us have to make sacrifices. I hope that speaks to a suggestion of what I'm, without going into specifics. So the individuals are at fault, the government is at fault, the service provider is at fault, so all of us must make some sacrifices to correct what has happened. The taxpayers must not bear the brunt of our lack of governance and accountability.
All right. All right. Let's see here. John Bruno is asking the question. What is he saying? Sheldon Scott not employed by government? No more. Anyway, just going back to the piece before, a couple of comments have just come in here. Somebody was asking a little while ago, what is the PM afraid of? And Margaret's response was, that's exactly my sentiments. Okay, folks, this matter is not, these matters aren't going to be going away in a hurry. I'm sure you're going to be hearing an awful lot more. And I'm also sure my good buddy Sherron, who's sitting here, I'm sure we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But before we do, we still have to get into the national report. And I want to share something with you that came in early this morning as far as the weather is concerned. A tropical wave located over the eastern tropical Atlantic Ocean, a few hundred miles southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands, continues to produce a broad area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Okay? No significant development of the system is expected for the next few days, while it moves westward at about 15 miles an hour. Thereafter, upper-level winds are forecast to gradually become more conducive. Hear that? Listen. And a tropical depression could form over this weekend. That would take place several hundred miles east of the Lesser Antilles, east of here, okay? The system has a low chance, near zero, of becoming a tropical cyclone within the next 48 hours. But the Met Office has promised that they're going to continue to monitor the development of the system. All right? Okay. Break time, national report. Let's see how much of what I showed you here this morning shows up in the national report.
You don't know how many hurricanes will be coming this season, so you need to be prepared. At Hubbard's Hardware and Building Supply departments and Food Fair supermarkets, everything from canned foods, flashlights and batteries, to plywood, tarpaulin, lanterns, roof repair kits, water tanks, etc. are available. For over 90 years, we've helped you prepare for and recover from storms. Hubbard's Hardware, Food Fair supermarkets, and the Grenadian General Insurance, an integral part of your hurricane preparedness plan. Mr. Watts, wait. Why are you removing my sign?
Sorry, Larry, but you can't put the sign on an electricity pole. That is an accident waiting to happen.
Mr. Watts, man, I just finished this new house. I need to put up a sign so that people would know that the apartment is for rent. Why can't I put my sign on the pole?
Larry, you should know better. Think about it. Nails, staples, glue, and signs make it difficult for linesmen to quickly and safely climb poles, and it can delay their response time when there is an emergency. These objects can prevent linesmen responding as quickly as they should in an emergency.
You know, I've never thought about those things. But you're absolutely right.
On top of that, Larry, your sign was covering the pole identification number. What if someone needed to report a fault? The pole number tells Grenlec exactly where the problem is and allows them to respond faster.
Whoa, I really didn't consider all these things, you know. Come, let me help you take this down.
Remember, be safe, be smart. No more signs, banners, or posters on electricity poles.
GRENADA, energizing our Grenada.
Studying too hard about back-to-school expenses? Coop Bank is making back to school as easy as 1, 2, 3. Enjoy competitive interest rates, affordable monthly payments, speedy decisions on applications. Come in and apply today.
Conveniently located in the Grand Shopping Center, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair Grenadans will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, you know. Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep,
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
Prime Minister says Grenada economy remains strong and another year of growth is projected. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Tuesday, July 30th, I am Leslie Ann Johnson. Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Dr. The Right Honourable Keith Mitchell, says the Grenada economy remains strong in 2019 with another year of growth being projected. In 2018, the Grenada economy was recognized by the Caribbean Development Bank as the fastest growing economy in the region. Speaking during Tuesday's post-cabinet press briefing, Dr. Mitchell said, and I quote, "The tourism and transport sectors appear to be the main drivers of growth, along with continued recovery in the agriculture sector," unquote. The Prime Minister added that the construction sector, although not as robust as last year, continues to be a major source of economic activity and employment in 2019. Dr. Mitchell also revealed the results of the labor force survey for the third quarter of 2018. He says the results show a decline in the rate of unemployment from 21.7% to 16.7% in the third quarter of 2018. When questioned about efforts to further reduce unemployment, Dr. Mitchell said that will be influenced by the level of private sector projects and the training and empowerment of young people. On the issue of public debt, he revealed that at the end of June 2019, total public debt stood at 59.5% of GDP, compared with the 108% that existed in 2013 when the current administration first resumed office.
Which is $1.924 billion, which marks a decrease of 4.4% period in 2018, where the public debt recorded at 10% of GDP, which was just $2.015 billion.
The Prime Minister also noted that projects currently underway and those set to come on stream represent a kind of confidence in the local economy.
We've announced and it's on track. The Range project, 100 rooms, 6 cents, which was at last addressed in St. David's. And that project is expected to be launched on the 23rd of August, which is very soon, 2019, and it's over $300 million in investment and the employment of in St. David's. And there will be a 240 hotel room luxury resort encompassing 3 properties at True Blue. This is Homer Limited project with an investment over $60 million and it's carded for implementation in 2019.
Shared responsibility to address disaster management. That is the commitment of government and disaster management officials who are meeting here for 2 days in the annual stakeholders consultation at the National Stadium. The consensus is that all sectors must work together to improve disaster resilience to become more effective. Minister with responsibility for disaster management and information, Senator Winston Garwe, says despite our strengths, Grenada is prone to disasters, and the impact on our economies remind us of the need to pay attention to action-based resilience and responsibility sharing.
Our new focus is on shared responsibility, one where political leaders, governments, business, the churches, community leaders, and the non-profit sector all adopt increased or improved disaster management and advisory roles and contribute to achieving integrated and coordinated disaster resilience through information sharing. In turn, our communities, individuals, and households need to take greater responsibility for their own safety and act on information, advice provided before, during, and after a disaster.
Mrs. Roxy McLeish Hutchinson, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Climate Resilience, says we need to empower individuals to be more self-reliant and prepared to take responsibility for the risks that we face.
A disaster-resilient community is one that works together to understand and manage the risk that it confronts. Disaster resilience is a collective responsibility of all the sectors in our society, including all levels of government, business, non-government sectors, and individuals. If all of these sectors work together with a united focus and a shared sense of responsibility to improve disaster resilience, they will be far more effective than the individual efforts of one sector. We cannot do it alone. Working together also and drawing on the expertise and capacity of various partners produces far greater results than individual efforts. Partnerships across and within governments, businesses, non-profit organizations, and the community will create a well-informed, integrated, and coordinated approach to increasing disaster resilience, and the result will be a more resilient nation.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
Every summer, the Spice Island of Grenada is transformed into the Caribbean's biggest party, Spice Man. Coming down to Grenada. Come experience the warmth of our people, trending theme fats, the revelry, the pageantry, and why we are the Jab Nation. The Kids Our Future shines on August 3rd in the Children's Carnival Frolic and the Junior Calypso Show. 7 beauties take center stage as the Queen of Carnival is crowned on majestic Thursday, August 8th. The prestigious Soca and Groovy Monarchs are crowned on Carnival Friday night, August 9th. Enjoy the pulsating rhythms of the Still Pan at the Junior and the Senior Panorama on Carnival Saturday, August 10th, and Real Steel, August 17th. The March Gras crowns the Calypso Monarch on Carnival Sunday, August 11th. 2 days of frolicking in the Caribbean sun kicks off on Monday morning, August 12th, with the biggest juve in the world. followed by pageant and Monday night mass. The creativity and splendor of our mass parades on the road Carnival Tuesday, August 13. Join us in the Jab Nation of Grenada, August 8 to 12 for Spice Mass 2019. Many events, one carnival.
Continuing the news, Grenada's Prime Minister, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, has described the late Dr. Winston Thomas as an example worthy of emulation. At the start of Tuesday's post-cabinet press briefing, the Prime Minister recognized Dr. Thomas for his 2 decades of service to the public health care system in Grenada. He said, and I quote, "Dr. Thomas has given selfless service in the healing and health of so many of our citizens throughout Grenada," unquote. Dr. Thomas was described by all who knew him as a selfless individual who dedicated many years of service to the people of Grenada through his medical practice. In reflecting on his contributions, Dr. Mitchell said many health practitioners return and open private practice, but that was not the case with Dr. Thomas.
Dr. Thomas was one of the unique ones who gave his entire service without a private practice to the service of providing health care for all the citizens of this country, without exception. It is well known that he had very strong political views, but not always consistent with mine. But one thing I can say about him, in the process of doing this, he never allowed his politics to interfere with his profession. And that is something, I think, a message, a legacy that I think he would have left, hopefully, with all of us.
Dr. Winston Thomas died in Cuba over the weekend, where he was receiving medical treatment. 997 vehicular accidents recorded by the Traffic Department of the Royal Grenada Police Force for the period January to May 2019, with 5 fatalities, 43 involving serious bodily harm to occupants, and 132 with minor injuries. During the government's weekly post-cabinet briefing on Tuesday, facilitated by Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell, he expressed concern about the increased number of vehicular accidents on the nation's roads involving motorists from all strata of society.
Whether it's private vehicles, trucking activity, or bus-related activities, they all must be of serious concern, because you're talking about the safety of the drivers, the passengers, and the people of the country. So the police has been looking at all aspects. The traffic division has been upgraded in every aspect. They're being given tools, and of course, they're looking at implementing areas of technology that can, in fact, empower them to help us in dealing with this vexing problem.
Dr. Mitchell says the insurance companies are beginning to feel the effects of the increased number of vehicular accidents. The Traffic Department of the RGPF has already put systems in place to ensure increased patrols and road stops to help in the reduction of vehicular accidents. And that's the National Report. I'm Leslie Ann Johnson.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Can I have a chicken lunch, please? Large.
Real nice today.
Mm-mm. I don't want that.
But you just asked for a chicken lunch.
I don't have problem with the lunch. Afraid the container.
What is the problem with it?
These styrofoam containers, they don't good for the environment. They shorten with life.
What foolishness you telling me? So what you want me to use?
Put my food in this.
Where you get that?
At the food fair, where you could get all biodegradable food boxes and disposable food supplies like cups, plates, anything you could think about. Name it, it's there. And they don't harm the environment. Food fair, taking the lead in cleaning up and protecting the environment. Hey, like you take me advice, you get in your biodegradable food supplies.
Well, girl, I supporting who supporting the environment. That is why I shop in at food fair.
Food fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets. Products distributed by Hubbard's agency, Kirani James Boulevard.
Easy living should be convenient. With Grenneck, it is. Dial 237 for any Grenneck department, or for customer service, streetlight outages, or if it's unsafe to trim a tree near a power line. For streetlights and service issues, please note the pole number. From just about anywhere, you can also check your bill balance and other account information. Just keep your Grenneck access number handy. Dial 237 for Grenneck. It's that easy. Grenneck, energizing our Grenada.
Studying too hard about back-to-school expenses? Co-op Bank is making back to school as easy as 1, 2, 3. Enjoy competitive interest rates, affordable monthly payments, speedy decisions on applications. Come in and apply today.
Alrighty, folks, so here we go. She's been sitting here very patiently. She always comes in early. Can't be a real Grenadian, is she? Sherron, good morning, girl. How you doing?
Good morning, I'm good. Sad, but good.
Why are you sad this morning?
Poor Grenada.
Yeah. Sherron, it's heart-wrenching to see the stuff that's going on here.
Yeah.
Did you, by any chance, see the post-cabinet briefing yesterday?
No, but I read about it.
Yeah?
I heard about it. And you know, something that a lot of people may not realize, it's been a couple of years now that my brother included, Vincent, have been saying that the head of FIU is politically exposed. Now, according to the rules of FIU, the head of that unit should not be a politically exposed person. Now, if your wife is a minister, you're politically exposed. So that in itself is the first rule that they're breaking. Now, in September of 2016, the Commonwealth Institute did a workshop here. I was asked to be a rapporteur for that workshop. So I have all the notes. I put the whole report together, so I have it still. And yesterday, when I saw what was posted, Vincent posted on Facebook, I went back and checked my notes. And there's a whole chapter on corruption and stuff like that. And one of the first things the presenter said, anytime you see somebody who coming in first to come into work and last to leave, and time for vacation, they don't want vacation. Check deeper, something is going on. Because, you know, when you leave for 2 weeks or you go on whatever vacation, somebody takes over from you. And if you know you're doing something wrong that nobody must see, the last thing you want to do is to leave your post, you know? So he said that was one of the first indicators of corruption. And at that workshop, the head of FIU was there. So I know. And when, at the time, the issue didn't come up about him not wanting to go on vacation, or that his vacation was being bought from him. However, the issue of politically exposed people being in these key positions was brought up. You know? And it is just a sad, I can't rejoice, I can't feel happy that, oh, they're in trouble. I just feel sad for Grenada. And the reality is that it could get worse. And John asked, what is the PM afraid of? And last week I mentioned James Mitchell, who we call in the family Uncle Son. His nickname was Son, S-O-N.
Yeah.
And everybody now calls him Son, or Uncle Son. And I asked him one day, I was up, spent some time in St. Vincent, and 5 o'clock in the morning, Saturday morning, got up and go to the market, and he is there without, I mean, he drove himself, he didn't have bodyguards and anything. And I said, Uncle Son, how come you don't have a driver? He said, well, you have a driver for when he's on official business. He said, well, girl, you know, I'm happy to go in the market for myself. I have nothing to fear. Now, if your conscience is clear, you have nothing to fear.
Absolutely. Now, you know, if I'm not mistaken, you and I talked about this before, Son Mitchell, when I ran into him on, what's that little island off PSV. We actually talked about the same thing you and I are talking about. This man, the Prime Minister of St. Vincent, walking the beach alone. Nobody said.
Yeah.
Because he took a little boat, a little pirogue from St. Vincent and came over there just to escape his grandchildren alone. And I said to him, you know, he was surprised that I was surprised. And I said to him, well, you know, in Grenada, my Prime Minister doesn't take 2 steps without security.
Yeah. And you see, when you know the history of Grenada and what brought about the revolution, and so if you're terrorizing a people, you have to look over your shoulder all the time, because you don't know who would get fed up of your behavior and who is crazy enough to do crap. So your conscience not clear, you have to secure yourself, I guess.
Yeah, and that's pretty unfortunate. Pretty unfortunate. I see here your fans are out there already. Let's see here. Carla Briggs. You know somebody named Carla Briggs?
We were walking on the beach at 4:30 this morning.
Aye. Carla says, Wednesday morning and blessings to you and you and you and to Geo Bear.
It's you.
She remembers my nickname, Geo Bear, and Cher. Okay?
Yeah.
Then she goes on to say, the PM says that there are other culprits in cell phone gate, not just Sheldon. So, it's the government's fault for leaving it up to their public officers to return these phones and stop using them. And by the way, Margaret, she's also agreeing with your opening statement this morning about being sad. Then let's see here. Carla says, yes, Cher, we all agree, but this is Grenada. All wrong, all wrong. We seem to be a law unto ourselves.
Yep.
Then Fitzroy Adams says, I'm saying to you, my fellow Grenadians, we have to continue talking about PhoneGate. Don't let this one get swept under the rug again.
Right.
I'm very much ashamed after listening to my Prime Minister yesterday. Who else is here? Who else is here?
But who is there to hold them accountable? You know, it's like knocking your head against a wall.
Mm-hmm.
Your head will crack open before the wall falls. So if Grenadians will keep on voting and putting them back there, no matter what they do, you know, I wonder sometimes about the memory of our people.
Yeah.
I just, to be honest with you, George, this morning I just feel so sad. I was sitting here just now and I had to put my head back so I could just close them out.
I noticed how pensive you were sitting there.
I feel sad.
Yeah. Michelle Forsyth says, believe me, it could get very much worse.
Oh no.
Sherron, the present Prime Minister has much security detail. Times have changed and we now have bulletproof vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Your friend Dominic Patrice is saying, good morning.
Dominic.
Kipling Francis says, our PM is not afraid of anyone. He's afraid of his conscience.
Exactly.
Guiltness. Wicked soul.
Exactly. Exactly. He's afraid of his shadow.
Sherron, it's got to give, you know.
You know, one of the things I was thinking of when you were doing the piece of the post-cabinet briefing, I was thinking that these people lie so much and so often, like my grandmother would say, like when horse trotting, that they begin to believe themselves. They believe their own lies. And then they try to convince you that their lie is truth. But some of us know the difference, you know?
You know, I'm wondering if there's going to be any reaction from the Commissioner of Police.
Oh, Commissioner, there's so much interference in every aspect of life in Grenada. You know, you should separate the judiciary from and there's no separation of power these days, it seems. I said it seems because I'm praying that there is a little different.
Mm-hmm.
But when you want to interfere with the judiciary and you want to interfere with the churches and anybody in the church community say anything about you, you want to phone them up and cuss them off, or you want to write them and cuss them off and things like that. You're the big bad bully, so everybody afraid of you. That's why you have to have security, because you don't know when you would mash the toe of a crazy who would say enough is enough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and this total it's somebody said something about Mugabe. You read something about Mugabe just now.
Yeah.
And you have to wonder, is Grenada now a dictatorship? Why? I mean, it's just totally sad.
Donna Joseph here is saying, Gigi, the present commissioner is acting. He won't even bat an eyelid.
I don't think so much that he wouldn't as that he can't, because I know this commissioner. I know he is an honest person who would stand up for right. But he also have to think before he could do that, he may rather give up.
Mm-hmm.
Before he could get into a dog fight, because that's what it would be, a dog fight, if he is trying to say who in the law would support him. Let us say the commissioner decide to stand up to the Prime Minister and say, hello, you said that public servants supposed to tell politicians when they're wrong. You wrong. He don't know what will happen tomorrow. He may not want, he may not have a job. So he's caught between the devil and the deep blue sea.
He might be caught catching fish in Carriacou.
He might like that,
Yes.
because it's a peaceful life.
Benedict, hold on a sec here. Irvin Samuel says, but to get votes from people, they show no fear of the people. They are in every nook and corner, speaking to everyone they meet.
So mostly, I'm not saying everyone, but mostly is the most illiterate people that you would find supporting them. The kind of rubbish that come from their mouths, you have to think these are not a thinking people.
Yeah.
And people who could think would stop and say, well, hello, this is wrong. I am no longer supporting this because it is wrong.
Mm.
But I wonder if we have many of those anymore. I came across Terry Forrester the other day, and I listened to Terry talk, and I said, yes, boy. When people like Terry no longer support that party, you must know water more than flour.
Let's see here. John Bruno says, look at the PM's expression and posture at the briefing. He was very uneasy.
Not just easy. I don't want to run down the Fisher folk, but he like I don't know, something bantering on the side of the road.
Benedict Cador says, all bullies do meet their breaker.
Benedict Cador.
You know?
No. I don't think I do.
Okay.
I know a lot of people by face and not by names, else I know a lot of names and not their faces. So.
John Kennison out there in Carriacou says, acting commissioner, he is hogtied and dare not say a peep.
All I would say is that I'm real sorry for the commissioner, and I'm real sorry for anybody who is in a so-called place of authority, because they're not really.
What did you think when you heard the Prime Minister say at the post-cabinet briefing yesterday that there are other culprits, and he repeated that word over and over and over and over again?
You know something? If it's one time Keith Mitchell speak the truth, it is that time. In this whole affair, because I'm sure there is. You know?
Well, essentially, we had the president of the Trades Union Council on here on Sunday, and he was saying, he was absolutely insisting that there should be an independent investigation. Because we heard that the government said that they're investigating.
I'm sure there are many more than Sheldon Scott. He just happened to be the one caught.
Scapegoat.
Well, I wonder about that too. I wonder if they're not putting poor Sheldon out there to hang.
Yeah. Throw him under the bus.
Because what he have to lose, what they have to lose if he falls, when he falls. You know? So the reality is, I'm sure there are many others there.
I'm not sure what he's referring to here, but Sean's Julian says they put on a front.
Who are they?
I don't know. That's, I'm not sure. Anyhow, John says, Sherron, the easiest to please are the easiest to manipulate.
Of course. Hey, man, if you're hungry and I offer to feed you, you're easy to get caught.
Yeah.
When you're vulnerable, you're easy to get caught. But if you're vulnerable, but you have your belly and you have self-respect,
yeah,
they can't do you nothing.
Yeah.
You know, and somebody, one of my nephews actually visiting from abroad, asked me the other day, Auntie Sher, how is it that you always speak a truth? You call it as you see it.
Yeah.
Now, my grandmother, my mother's mother, was from Beckwith. She's the aunt of James Mitchell. Hence, we call him Uncle Son. He's my cousin, but because he was so much older, we call him Uncle. And she moved to Pittermartinique. She was a foreigner, right? Her father was from France. So she was this white woman with jet black long hair and gray eyes. She was different. And a lot of people find in those days, where she come out, she come and take a Pittermartinique man, and they have Pittermartinique women that want this man. And they would say something hurtful to her, so they used to call her a bacon egg. Because her mother was black, but her father was white. And they say real hurtful things. And I remember saying, Mommy, why don't you respond to these people? Her sister-in-law was one. She said, child, she said, I not sitting on nobody eyebrow, and when they blink, I'm going to fall off. So she said, you know, she not afraid of them.
Yeah.
She choose to ignore them.
Yeah.
But when she ready to pepper you, she call a spade a spade. And when she ready to put you in your place. And in like manner, I grew up with that. Speaking the truth. Calling it as I see it. You know, and even if I have to tell you, I am sorry, George, but you're really wearing a green shirt. I know you think it's blue, and blue would make you happy. But guess what? It ain't. So I might soften it by telling you I'm sorry, but that's who I am. I can't lie.
I'm going to take one final comment here. This is from Anthony Park. Anthony says, the Commissioner of Police and the members of the Public Service Commission need to resign. They do not seem to have a role.
That is true, and I know Tony Parks very well, and hi, my brother. I think we must have started to teach at the same, around the same time. No,
Somebody here agrees with it. Huh?
It's true. I agree with him.
Somebody named Michelle Forsyth says, absolutely, Sherron. That is the position we in the Caribbean have found ourselves in.
Yeah.
Have put ourselves in. Okay? We remember only our last meal.
That is true.
The politicians have figured this and use it to keep us now in modern day slavery.
I was talking to somebody a couple of days ago.
Let me finish this.
Oh.
She says, we in the Caribbean, on a whole, are in serious trouble. Our neighbors to the north are in just as much trouble.
Exactly. And you know something, George? As I started to say just now, I was explaining to somebody. The politicians take us for granted so much. You know, the last election, I saw none of the people who are really running. The only place I went to that I saw a politician who was running actually visiting the people was in Carriacou and Pittermartinique. And you can't say it's because I was campaigning in Carriacou and Pittermartinique. I saw with my eyes Andrews, Tevin Andrews, and Miss Maturin. I saw them going door to door. And I visited Carriacou and Pittermartinique on those times. I live in Grenada. They send the agents, as I call them, to your house. They didn't come. Nobody came in St. Paul's. Nobody came in Montparnasse. They don't go door to door because they're so full of confidence that they bound to come. They send their agent and you vote for them.
Sherron, let's shift gears for one single minute because we I don't like to keep these people longer than they have to.
They want to stay. Give them.
They give me an hour. I'm so grateful that they spend the hour, boy, but sometimes I have a tendency to go a little bit over. Sherron, Carnival is what? Not this coming weekend, the following weekend?
The following weekend.
Yeah.
But you know what is this weekend?
Yeah, man. Regatta. Yeah. Sherron, have you seen any activity on the streets to give you the feeling that we're in for the best carnival ever?
No, I have seen activity, but not to say we're in for the best carnival. Last weekend, I couldn't even take a 5-minute nap. Where I lived there, they had action from the time I woke up on Friday morning until Sunday. And the only reason why I got a break on Sunday afternoon is because I left the area and come down to your area.
Mm-hmm.
Constant jamming, every day, every night.
Mm-hmm.
Jab and all kind of thing in my area. But I'm not seeing it, I'm not feeling it. I didn't even realize that Sunday night was semifinals.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't see it on Facebook. I didn't hear anybody say it. You know?
So, somebody was telling me that there are a lot of people on the street. And yes, I've seen a few, I'm not going to call them whatever, but I'm seeing some strange faces, some new faces, and hearing these new accents,
yes,
on the street. But somehow it just doesn't seem to me that there are as many as we're accustomed to.
Well, yesterday I went down to Kalinago because the Reiki gathering that we have in September will be based at Kalinago.
Mm-hmm.
And Kalinago was filled.
Yeah.
You can't get a room there right now,
okay,
with people coming back for Carnival and Trinidadians coming up
Yeah.
already that want to be here for more than just the Carnival weekend.
Okay. Sherron, thank you very much, my friend. It's only the middle of the week, but I'm going to wish you a wonderful weekend and, the best for the rest of the week as well.
Yes, and for those who are traveling to Carriacou, stay safe.
Stay safe. And please take my love to Carriacou.
And tell Margaret something that I brought you a surprise.
Should I
Go
open?
Go ahead and tell Margaret what you got. So she said she said the man don't have a.
Oh, you see, Margaret. Margaret, yeah. Folks, take a look here. This is from Sherron. She brought this. See, was it Tuesday night of last week or Wednesday? Wednesday night of last week. I had a small group over here, Margaret and Sherron and her husband and Ray and, a few people. And we let Margaret loose in the kitchen. And you know what these women are like. They're finicky. They need this and they need that. And with me, it's just that. They need everything. When Margaret discovered that George did not have a cutting board, and she let me have it. She let me have it, okay? So Sherron was there, and Sherron heard. So thank you, Margaret, for instigating this, and thank you, Sherron. God bless you, my friend. I love you. I love you. Margaret says, yeah, love it, Sherron.
It was so nice meeting her.
Yeah, she's precious. She is precious. This afternoon, her brother is pretty ill in hospital, and I'm going to see him later on this afternoon.
Okay.
You want to go?
Today's Wednesday.
All right. Kaluki.
Yes.
Yeah, Kaluki. Anthony Park says, I leave for him what he has already taken charge of. Whatever. Okay. Thanks a lot, my friend. Okay. Let's wrap this up with, forget about commercial break, an inspirational word from the Holy Scriptures. And today we take that from the second book of Corinthians, chapter 10, verses 3 to 6. For though you live in the world, we do not though we live in the world, we do not wage war as the world does. The weapons we fight with are not the weapons of the world. On the contrary, they have divine power to demolish strongholds. We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God. And we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. And we will be ready to punish every act of disobedience once your obedience is complete. From the second book of Corinthians, chapter 10, 3 to 6. Final glance here. Sandy Dabrio says, Grenadians forget how to live. Margaret says, nice meeting you two. We got to do that again. Mags, anytime, girl. And please, don't bring a cutting board. God. Let's see. How to stand up, says Sandy Dabrio. My dear friends, thank you so much for joining me for this morning's edition of Good Day, Grenada. Hope we taught you something, educated you somewhat, and of course, a little bit of entertainment in there as well. May God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 9.